I'm about to do something crazy, and that's defend SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. And if you just give me a few minutes, I think I could convince you as to why the SEC Commissioner is not the biggest problem right now with college football. Why he isn't, as some of you have lovingly said on Twitter, an incompetent buffoon. Here's the reality when it comes to SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. The man is doing exactly what he's paid to do, which is to look out for the best interests of the SEC. It's not his responsibility to look out for the good of college football. The man gets paid by the SEC. He gets paid to literally make the best decisions and best position the SEC going forward. So it's not his responsibility to lessen the strength of the conference in order to benefit the greater good of college football. That's why I don't think Greg Sankey is the villain here that everyone makes him out to be, or at least the number one villain that everyone right now is pointing to as to why college football is a complete cluster. I'll let you finish the phrase. It is a mess. But I think right now Greg Sankey's getting an unfair shake of it and a lot of blame that I don't think should be directed towards him. And so that's why I had no problem on Monday afternoon when he addressed the media at SEC spring meetings. And he took a shot across the bow at ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips and Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, who last week, if you recall, after the new seeding for the college football playoff was approved for 2025 that now seeds the teams 1 through 12 based on rankings versus being conference champions and all that stuff, the ACC and the Big 12 put out very similar, but they're claiming uncalculated statements that said that while they agreed to something that actually hurts their conference, they did so because it was for the greater good of college football. And they hope every conference commissioner going forward makes decisions in the best interest of college football as a whole going forward, which is a direct shot at Greg Sankey of the SEC and Tony Petitti of the Big Ten. Well, Sankey had his chance to retort and respond to those comments. And let's just say he did not hold back on something he probably thought was a little holier than thou from the ACC and the Big 12. If you missed it, here it is. Take a listen.
I don't need lectures from others about good of the game. I don't lecture others about good of the game. And coordinating press releases about good of the game. Again, okay, you can issue your press statement, but I'm actually looking for ideas to move us forward. The CFP and my colleagues have to understand there's something different here. We all play college football. And so while you ask that of me, I'll go back and say, we didn't need a 12-team college football playoff. Thought it was good for the game. I was involved in that. Others held it up.
Well, again, I have no problem with what he said because I think at the end of it, again, he is paid to do what's best for the SEC. He does not have the responsibility to do what's best for college football. And that's where I think the biggest issue here lies, because all of the ire towards Sankey, I think to me, shines a light on college football's biggest problem, which is right now, there's no college football commissioner. There is not one single person whose only task is to look out for the greater good of the entire sport. That's what college football needs, because right now it's like a chicken with its head cut off. It's chaos. It's everyone scrambling around and making decisions that are best situated for only their school or only their conference. No one is looking out for the greater good. So I don't think Sankey right now deserves criticism for doing what everyone else is doing. But college football needs a caretaker, in part because I don't think it should be on the shoulders of conference commissioners. Their goal is to look out for their conference. There should be someone above them looking out for the greater good of the whole sport. But also, too, because right now, the biggest decision makers, the ones who are really making an impact on what college football looks like here in 2025 and beyond, the people making those calls are conference commissioners, individual conference commissioners, specifically mainly Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, Big Ten, SEC, and TV networks. And by the way, as I'm sure you noticed, every decision they make, the one who's paying for it is the fans. We end up as the ones that get hurt. We're the ones who are kind of sitting and left picking up the pieces and have to now, quote unquote, deal with it and deal with the new reality of all these decisions that put more money in other people's pockets and have us sitting there saying, is this really what we want? I mean, think about it. Look over the last few years. Every decision that's been made, can we say us as fans, you and I, can we really say that these decisions have been made better, have improved our college football watching and enjoying experience? Has conference realignment really helped? Has that really made the Big Ten better and more enjoyable? Is wiping out the Pac-12 really best for college football? Even now, the college football playoff expansion, I think 12 is great. I really do. I think 12 is the perfect number. But now, because the SEC and the Big Ten want more power and more money, what do we got to look at? Well, probably a 14, most likely 16-team playoff with automatic qualifiers, which are awful. Who wants that? It's unfair. No one wants it. No one's signing up for it. It's not going to reflect how an actual season goes based on who makes the playoff or not. It's something where two people, because of sign-offs from the ACC and the Big 12 and other conference commissioners that gave this power to the SEC, the playoff expansion, the future of the college football playoff is going to be determined by two people, Sankey and Batiti. That is a problem. That is problematic that two people are deciding the fate and the future of 130 plus schools. If you want to just throw out the group of five or the group of six, fine. But at least the other 65 Power 5 schools. It's ridiculous. It's not good. But neither is, scheduling, ideas that are now mostly driven by individual schools. Not, I think, for the greater good of college football. We're seeing now some historic rivalries like Notre Dame USC being on the verge of getting canceled. Hell, even kickoff times. Big noon kickoff has ruined college football Saturdays for a conference. Big Ten fans, and I'm one of them as a Penn State alum, cannot stand big noon kickoff. But again, look at everything we just talked about. Alignment, playoff, kickoff time, scheduling. It all comes back to individuals and those who do not care about the future and the health of the overall sport making decisions that impact everyone involved. And we as the fans are the biggest losers. I think a college football commissioner changes that. It's been floated about, it's been talked about, and now I think it's a good time to bring it back up because I don't think Greg Sankey deserves a majority of the hatred that he is getting. I get he's painted as a villain because the SEC, you could argue, started this entire thing by getting Texas and Oklahoma from the Big 12 to come to the SEC. But again, remember, Greg Sankey is paid by the SEC to make the conference the best it can. He is doing what his literal paycheck is telling him to do. That's why I can't fault him. That's why I'm defending him, because he is literally doing his job. The problem is not Greg Sankey. The problem is right now the lack of organization, the lack of cohesion, the lack of unison that could be solved by having a college football commissioner. The key to change is knowing the enemy. Sankey's not the enemy. The SEC is not the villain that is right now ruining all of college football. The enemy right now is a lack of cohesion, a lack of governing body that can get this Wild West sport right now organized, that can put some rules down, parameters down, and get a hold of the sport that you and I don't want to say used to love. I still love it. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you love college football as well, but it's different. It's changed. A lot of it for the negative. It's changed because now you're having more influence by people who don't really care about the sport. That's the biggest villain. That's the enemy right there. And I think a college football playoff commissioner can change that and make it for the better. We just got to find that man or woman, and hopefully soon. But that's why at least I want to sit here and take these last few minutes to defend Greg Sankey. I think it's been unfair, the vitriol he's gotten, because he's not the problem. It's beyond him. It's bigger than him. He is right now just taking advantage better than anyone else of the system and the rules in play. And if the ACC could have had the power of the SEC, they would do it in a heartbeat. Same with the Big 12. They just right now don't have the legacy, the tradition, the history, the power, the schools to make the power play the SEC is. Greg Sankey's not the villain here. He's literally just doing his job. He's doing what he's responsible for, looking out for the best and the greater good of the SEC. Now, if you disagree, this is a two-way street here. That's my case. I hopefully convinced you in the last few minutes here as to why it's really not Greg Sankey. If you are someone hating on the SEC for what they said, what they're doing to the sport, look bigger. It goes beyond them. But if you still disagree after watching these last few minutes here, jump in the comments and tell me why. Explain. We'll go back and forth here. I'd love to hear your perspective. You heard mine. Let's make it fun back and forth. If you're visiting the channel for the first time, appreciate you. Please subscribe. We got college football content coming your way all off season long, ramping up as we get closer and closer to the start of the regular season. You can also check me out on Twitter, Ryan_Hickey3. A lot of tweets there. And also TikTok and Instagram as well. Hick at night spelled Nite.